get out of my chair.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I have roll call, please?
Eric Borda.
Randy Pelletier.
Christy Wood.
Eunice Landry.
Dave Bradshaw. Matt Jazokis.
Jason Henry.
Carol Locke.
Heidi Dufler. Lauren Ferruccio. Eliza Drilling.
Ann Pierce.
Wyatt Barney.
All right, so the first public input of the night is typically on any of the items on the agenda. So if anyone has public input, step on up. Anyone? All right, in that case, I'll close public input. Agenda review, I have some changes to add. So we're going to, right after approval of minutes, we're going to have a student recognition moment. And then we're going to add under action items the van that we've talked about. And we're going to eliminate equipment and materials disposal. That's no longer relevant, evidently.
I make a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the approval of the minutes of June 18th, 2024.
Make a motion to accept the meeting minutes of June 18th, 2024 as presented.
I second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Okay. One abstention, Deb?
Yes, thank you.
All right, student recognition. Who's in charge of that, Matt?
So we have Jesse Rubitis here. Jesse is the art teacher. Well, we also have our student here, Kayla Forsyth. Kayla, if you can come on up, that would be great. Before Mr. Rubitis gets here, Kayla, excuse me, she won the National Gold Key Art Award from Scholastics.
Oh, wow, congratulations.
And what I understand, this is the first time in Prospect Mountain history that one of our students has received the Gold Key. The Scholastic Gold Key is the highest award that a student in grades 7 through 12 can receive for their art. Here he is. According to Mr. Rubitis, though, in addition to being a talented young artist, she's also a great kid. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Rubitis to add a little bit more to this.
Okay. I missed the first minute or so that happened here because I realized Keela only had 2 days' notice to come to this today, and she was unable to bring the artwork in. So I ran to my classroom and I put it up on the projector in case anybody wanted to see the piece of artwork in question. It is now projected like 5 feet tall across the hall. But I don't know what the protocol is for these meetings if like that's going to disrupt everything. So if Matt or anyone is willing to close my laptop, I can leave my door open, leave it on the projector, and anybody after your meeting today can walk through and go, oh.
We can go walk through now if you want. Does anyone want to go see it right now?
Sure.
Just to...
And then you can ask any questions about it when we get back. And
Oh, first of all, say congratulations. Let's go take a look.
Why not? What year? Like, what? I get the lid. I know, I was throwing it out.
I'm actually meeting someone from SCAD.
Yep.
Actually tomorrow.
Yep.
So I'm pretty excited for that. Definitely keeping my options open, but I definitely like to pursue something. I feel like, to me, it would not be worth doing all this if I didn't have that main goal in mind. So that's really why I've been trying to do all this and everything. So yeah, that's mainly like the main motivation.
That's awesome. You're certainly a talented young lady. Thank you for
I
sharing.
appreciate that.
Does anyone else have any other questions? Well, thank you very much for coming tonight. We really appreciate it, and what a great job. Congratulations.
Go out for ice cream.
Does that get you a new car? Mom's like, I don't remember. Thank you.
So, thank you for coming in. We appreciate it. All right, Heidi, you're next. Finances?
So we have the July expense report. I don't really have anything to report on it right now. I'm just working on encumbrances with all the new staff. I do have the auditors coming in next week on site, so I'm really focusing on that.
Is that the same day as the other schools too, or
So they come in and it's all three.
all three at the
whole
same
week,
time?
all three.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of pressure, Heidi.
It's a lot.
I bet. Does anyone have any questions for Heidi? Okay. We have our principal report. First one for our new principal.
First of all, I just want to say I'm excited to be here. Looking forward to a great year. In about 6 weeks, give or so, of being here, I've connected about 80 meetings so far with teachers, in some case students, staff, everyone in between. Getting a lot of really good information, a lot of insight, and feeling really positive, truly. So I just want to lead with that. What I shared with you is a single document that links to essentially everything you would need to start the school year. Particularly, one thing I want to just emphasize is the administration entry plan. And if you haven't had a chance to look at that, definitely check it out at some point, because I spelled out exactly what the guiding principles are from a leadership standpoint. That will be kind of my North Star, so to speak, as well as very clear action items to really push and continue to push the school forward. And a lot of it entails building consensus, having a system of accountability for students, staff, and administrators alike, and really focusing on morale for everyone involved. And so those are really the guiding principles. If you look at some of the updates in like the staff handbook, it's all about best practices, what's best for kids. And if you look at the document in particular, front office roles, where I take every core function that's involved with running a school. I identified the administrator who's going to be the primary point person for that, to make sure that, yes, I'm going to really make sure I'm holding teachers accountable. I'm going to support the heck out of them in the process, but I'm doing the same thing for myself as principal and the other administrators. So that's kind of the broad strokes in that regard. And I've heard a lot of really positive feedback, and about 25 staff members and teachers, maybe 30, 35 at this point, had a chance to talk about a lot of these updates, and people are really responsive and feeling positive about it. I had a chance to sit with Wyatt and go through some of the updates in the student handbook, and again, I don't want to speak for him, but pretty solid response and understanding from really all parties involved, to what I would say really take a really good system and put steps in place to push us to great. And that's really, again, to use the term from earlier, the guiding North Star, so to speak, for that. So I could go for hours and hours, but I don't want to go too specific.
And we'll
But
stop you.
Check
Yep,
those,
I will stop.
Sorry.
check those documents out. You know where to find me. Feel free to make a phone call, shoot an email, stop by. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions about handbooks, administration entry plan, and everything in between.
Okay, great. I just noticed why you're not on the agenda. We should have added you. Do you have a report to make?
I do not, no.
Okay, well, then that
Not a
was-
whole lot on the student side.
I know. Well, you didn't even have to come tonight evidently, so, but we appreciate your presence. All right. So do we want to add the AD director?
He's here.
Do you have a report for us tonight?
Sure.
Yeah, well, you're here, so I figured you might as well give a report so you're not, come on over.
Well, I have some action items which I'll discuss later, but as far as athletics go, all of our fall positions are obviously full. We're able to bring in 2 coaches on the volleyball side that I'm very excited about. Katie Ward, who's local, 6'3", by the way. Obviously, it's a great volleyball player. But awesome attitude. I've had a chance to see her over the last week or so with the kids, and she's going to be a great fit. Her assistant coach for travel volleyball is also her assistant coach and the JV coach here. So we're in a little bit of a bind and moving quickly. We got 3 or 4 candidates, and I think we kind of lucked out with getting a really, really solid person for taking over that role. Obviously, for soccer, cross country and all the other sports, those are coaches that had come over from last year, so they're off and running. Today is the second day of tryouts. Seen a lot of kids out there. I think there's 32 or 33 boys and just as many girls for soccer. Cross country also showing some great numbers, especially on the girls side. 18, 19 girls I think are signed up is a big number. In the next 2 weeks, we'll start the hiring process for all of our winter sports. My plan is to then follow that up and hire spring, so we have all of our coaches hired within the next 6 weeks for the rest of the year, so we can start to set up appropriate preseason workouts, build out an infrastructure that wraps in the 2 middle schools with the high school, which I think is really important for us to do across all the sports. So we talked a little bit about fields and things going on. Obviously, the gym's finished. We have quite a bit of work going on in the baseball and softball fields right now, which I think will bring those kind of back to the level that they should be. And other than that, working on a handbook, which we'll talk about today. But things have been really great so far. By the way, Amanda is awesome. Thankfully, she's still here, and has made my life very easy, kind of moving into this role to make sure that we got hit the ground running. Knock on wood, we haven't had any big things pop up. Schedules are good, buses are good. And I would say probably the last thing I would mention, for middle school girls soccer, we had 2 girls in Alton and 27 boys, to give you an idea. So do we put the 2 with the 27 and make it co-ed? Does that make sense? Now in Barnstead, we had probably 8 or 9 girls and then a whole lot of boys too. So we decided to put the 2 schools together for girls soccer for middle school. And so they'll be playing together under Prospect Mountain Athletics banner, but they'll be the Junior Timberwolves playing a combined schedule, practicing together in Barnstead. We're actually able to figure out the transportation today, so they're not going to have to wait an hour or ride an hour on the bus or any of that. It'll all be pretty quick, getting the kids from home to Barnstead after school for their practices and games. So excited about that. I think it'll be a good test case, see how it goes with the 2 towns together, but I think it's a good solution, and everyone seems to be happy about it. The girls don't really want to play co-ed. They want to play girls soccer with other girls. So.
Awesome. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Yes,
I think it's a great merge
Thank
in
you.
having the 2 middle school teams merge.
You're able to be creative with that. That's awesome.
I'm excited too, the jerseys and little stuff. We have the Barnstead logo on one sleeve, the Alton on the other.
That's cool.
It'll look really
Wait,
cool.
you went as far as thinking about uniforms?
I know, right? Guess what? They're already ordered. They'll be here next week.
That's great.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, under correspondence, we have a thank you note from Reese Burke. If you had a chance to look at that,
Very
the
nice.
scholarship we gave her, which was a very nice thank you note. Any questions or comments about that?
It's very nice.
I always appreciate a good thank you note.
She's such a sweet kid.
They haven't gone out of style totally. I know some people just like to email, but it's nice to get a real thank you note once in a while. We have first student strike. Thought of that when we were going to talk about this?
Yeah, so Tim and I met with the area general manager and our local rep to talk about the strike. For us, fortunately, the strike doesn't necessarily include us. We have a 2-year contract left over with our bus drivers for Alton and Prospect Mountain. They have a verbal agreement that they will start school as on time for everyone. They're sitting back down at the table on September 11th. While they can't say for 100% sure that we won't have any type of disruption, they're feeling because the CBA is in place here in New Hampshire, we might feel that some people might take a sick day or something like that as a show of solidarity to the other 6 areas that are fighting the CBA at this point. But they're putting together some contingency plans just in case so that we don't have any disruption for our day-to-day routines or our athletics. We'll know more probably mid-September.
And this is only for the Alton bus. Barnstead's a different
Correct,
company.
just Alton.
They have a different company, right? Okay, thanks. Any questions for Matt? All right, we're on to our coordinated communication for school committee flyer. So this is a workshop that you already had, or you are?
No, this was just a correspondence, just in case anybody here was interested in attending.
Oh, if any of us
Yeah,
were
yes.
interested, I apologize.
Yes.
Anyone interested in attending, make sure you see Matt, okay? Sound good? You don't have to make that public announcement tonight. All right, I asked Deb to put on a survey update on the agenda because I feel like the public have been asking what's going on with the survey. And of course, they took the survey quite a while ago, but I think it's important to tell the public that our timeline was that on May 28th was the first time the school board actually heard the results of the survey. That was actually when the company that's been working with us, the Bryan Group, came to the board meeting in non-public and finally presented the survey results. That was May 28th. That was the first time any of us had heard the results. So I know that people have been impatient about it, but it's important to say that because we weren't stalling people. We were letting the survey company do their job. They were calling people, they were collating data. So, and then at our June school board meeting, we went into non-public again, went over the survey again together, and then we formed a committee. And on that committee were the 3 chairs of the school board. So the Barnstead chair, the Alton chair, and then the Prospect chair. And we included Eliza because she's a human resources person. We thought she'd be a good person to include on the committee. So as part of our timeline, I wanted the public to know that we met twice this summer for several hours each time to talk about the survey results and to form some ideas of how we were going to go forward. And so we've picked areas of focus, and the 3 areas of focus we want to work on this year are communication, team building, and climate. So obviously we can't discuss personnel in public, but we are going to be focusing on those 3 areas: communication again, team building, and climate. How we go about that may not be able to be shared, but we are going to be working on those goals. So if the public has any questions, general questions, they can be asked at some point, but I just wanted the public to know we are listening to them. We want them to know that we're working on this, and we want them to know that we're not oblivious to what's happening around us. Any questions or comments from the board? Okay, great. That's my update. Technology report.
Madam
Good
Chair,
update.
before that, I have a few items that if I could,
Sure.
under the superintendent piece. One of it is the school calendar. So the school calendar had been approved for 24-25, which included professional development days both in November and March due to the elections. There is a state primary on September 10th, and currently right now we have school here at Prospect Mountain. And so what we're asking for the joint board to do is adopt a change to make September 10th a no school day. And October 4th right now, which was the NEA day, and has now been moved to October 11th. So what we'd ask is that you propose a change to no school on September 10th, and then a school day on October 4th. And as it pertains to the NEA day, Dr. Broderick will meet with the three union presidents and determine whether or not we would propose October 11th as a no school day so that people may attend the NEA day.
So are the union presidents going to do the survey, or are the school administrators doing the survey?
I'm not sure exactly how he's got that set up at this point, but
There should be a survey of staff regardless of who does it, just to find out who wants to attend the NEA conference. Because it's always been a privilege for them to go to the NEA conference by not having school that day.
Yep.
Obviously, substitutes are a lot to cover.
correct.
So I just want to make sure that they have a chance to respond to that, not just through the union presidents.
So we need an action on this?
Yes, please,
Do you want it now?
if you could.
Okay.
I make a motion to amend the calendar so that September 10th will be no school due to primary elections, and October 4th, which was previously no school, will be a regular school day.
I'll second that with amendment that the teachers are also surveyed to see if they want that day off so they can attend the NEA conference.
On October 11th.
On top of that, yep.
Yep.
Second? Is that what your second
Yeah,
was?
second.
He seconded.
With an
All right, you
addition.
added and said second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Just an open enrollment update. We opened applications from May 2nd until May 31st. Originally, we had 15 seats available, and all 15 seats have been filled. We did have one student withdraw, but we also had one on the wait list. So we'll start with 15 incoming open enrollments. We expect that there will be 9 returning from previous.
So are all 15 freshmen?
Yes.
Okay. And so how many on the wait list?
There is none at this point.
Oh,
Because
good.
the one that was on the wait list was able to come in because one.
Because
had
the other one
withdrawn.
withdrew?
Yep.
Okay, great.
So
All
we're good
right.
there. So there's no action at that point. Just an update on open enrollment and decision by the state board. Tim had shared with you the State Board of Education Student versus Pittsfield School Board. Again, they have been notified that Pittsfield plans to appeal their decision. At this time, we had billed $165,045 in tuition to the other school districts at the end of the school year. To date, we have received or expect to receive $66,375 in payments. Some of the other districts that are not included in the Pittsfield piece have stated that they're going to hold off on payment until they see the results of the appeal. We'll continue to move forward with collecting payments as best we can. So. There's also some legislators who have discussed filing legislative services to request more clarification on RSA 194D. So we'll bring that to your attention once we get that piece. And then lastly, well, I shouldn't say lastly, sorry. The Granite State Academy Alternative Program and Innovation Plan that you guys have approved. We did get New Hampshire Ed comments back. While there is no revisions required at this point, the next steps would be that they will schedule a hearing in front of the State Board of Education sometime in September, and then that would be seeking their approval of the innovation plan. So that will be forthcoming. Prior to launching the program, the board would need to enter into an agreement with Stride K-12, which is the online school service provider. And then Tim is recommending that you select a member from Alton and Barnstead to review the draft agreement in depth and then work with him to bring that proposal to the board in September or October. So again, if you would like to appoint one person from each town to be able to meet with him.
You'll do it, Christy?
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you, Christy.
Thank you,
for
Christy.
There's a
stepping
long
up.
side there, though.
Well, she is doing budget committee too, that's a
Oh.
major. Yeah. Don't get me started.
So the last item.
Because they already want to start. We're going to talk about budget already, aren't we, Christy?
Sorry about that. Our last item, physics class options. As you're aware, in 23-24, we were unable to run physics class because of the lack of a teacher or a person that's qualified to teach physics. During our course selections for this go-around, we had around 8 students who wanted to take physics this year. Once again, we were unable to find a teacher and a person who was qualified to teach physics. So Linda Sheff from the school counseling department had reached out to principals and counselors from Farmington, Kingswood, Milton, and Pittsfield to see if we can do some sort of a collaboration. While Kingswood was able to accommodate, because of their block scheduling, they would only have availability for a small number of kids second semester, which would throw off a student's schedule. We also looked at other schools, but unfortunately for them, they had to use what would be their physics teacher to teach math instead. So we've been working on two options. Option number one was with Stride K-12, which is the company that we're working with on the Granite State Academy. They have stated that they would be willing to work with us, and what that would mean is that we would have, they would teach physics 3 days a week, and it would be obviously online, but with a teacher there, a specific teacher. And then the other 2 days would be sort of a supervised study hall for them to work on the work that they would be required to do. They would provide the materials, including the labs for, or the materials for the labs. And again, what we would need to do is provide a staff member to oversee that particular group of kids. So we would work with those 8 kids to find out what best period would be in that piece of it.
So you're proposing a certified staff member?
That might be difficult to do.
I know, I was wondering.
So we'd have to kind of work through that piece of it, but at least
Because the
we would just need an
experiments,
adult.
hands-on,
Yeah.
it would be nice to have someone there who
Yeah.
kind of knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And then
Unless we want
option
to
two?
explode the building.
And so obviously we would enter in with a contract for them. We do have some excess funds in the general program under teacher salaries, so we'd be looking at that. Option 2 would be NHTI is running a physics class this fall, and as part of the state and the community college system, our students could attend that class for free for the tuition pieces of it. That doesn't include the cost for books or materials, but that would be minimal, and we could certainly pay for that piece of it. But then that would be a night class that they would attend, dual enrollment concurrent piece of it. So the only thing with that, the students would be responsible for the transportation. So those are the two options that we've been working on. So we'll continue to work for next year with the area schools in hopes.
Sure.
If we go with the first option, which is the Stride K-12, we would certainly reach out to Pittsfield, Milton, and Farmington to see if there's any of those students and charge them a small fee to
Sure.
be or to participate in that. So.
I wonder what the students would prefer to do.
That's why I'm looking over at the young gentleman over there.
I definitely think with the second option, going to NHTI, that would disrupt a lot of student schedules, because then that's contingent on the student having their license or having an adult or friend that can drive them. And also sports, a lot of students have jobs. So there's kind of a lot more that plays into that one. And for the first option, I would say getting as close as you can to having a certified teacher or someone who at least is in the ballpark
Sure,
of knowing what they're doing.
that's how I feel.
Well, it does say in the write-up that the teacher from the
Stride.
Stride is certified.
Well, I mean for like the actual teacher who's
Yeah.
supervising the students.
For support, yeah.
Because when they're doing the experiments, it's not as effective if you, I don't know, that's how I feel. They're online, they're telling them what to do, but a hands-on teacher, like Wyatt said, who knows kids and how to teach, is a whole different ballpark when you're in
Exactly.
person.
Or for the 2 days, like the 2 guided study days especially, where they might not have access to the online teacher.
Then I'll make a motion that the school seek and go towards the first option.
I do want to say, though, that there is a huge benefit for students to take college credit while they are still in high school. It's a huge savings.
It is.
For students, and it is also gives them a lot of advantages. So,
Well, can it be an option?
That's
Why
what I was
can't
gonna
we
say.
do both?
Yeah.
Like, because for some students, the first option also might not fit into their daily schedule, and it might be better for them to go.
Well, but as you pointed out, if they're on the soccer team, for example, and they're going up to Berlin, they're not getting back in time to go to a class, so
I think it's
that's
kind of a
difficult.
student to student
Can you do both?
basis.
We can certainly work on the, if you want to move forward with option 1, we can have the school counseling department talk with the kids there, the 8 kids there, kind of see If the majority of them say, I want option one, then we can continue there. If one or two say, I want option one, and the others say, I want option two, then we can come back to the
And I
table.
think
Yeah, I'd like to hear, or let the kids,
Yep.
And the parents should
Drive.
also be part of the
Absolutely.
decision,
Yeah.
because they're the ones driving them to NHTI. So-
present all the pros and cons and.
I would just need a recommendation to be able to,
Yeah, recommendation, look at both options, and see what best suits the student needs and parent needs.
Second.
as part of that, can we enter into an agreement if option one is the way to go?
It was part of my
Yeah,
motion.
that was part of the motion. So all
Just wanna make
those
sure.
in favor,
Just bump
do we need to?
Good question.
I just wanted to say that I agree with supporting option one as the primary option, but I think it's good to include the students in that decision. But what I like about option one is they're getting their education here.
Right, I
And
get
it's
it.
not nighttime and we have to worry about all that travel.
Mhm. Especially in the wintertime, when there
Yeah.
might be
Do not
glitches.
disagree.
All right, so we have a motion to explore, to hook into the option one, but also talk to the children of kids about the option two, see if that works better for them, okay? I think
And
that's
allow them
the,
to enter into agreement.
and we
Yeah,
give you
and I'd like
permission to enter
including the
into
other
agreement.
schools if we can.
Yeah, that's good, yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, great. Now the technology report?
Now,
It's a great
All right, so Matt's not here tonight, but, so he just gave us some bullets of what he's been doing. He has a new camera server, ran new lines, mounted new cameras, which we had asked him to do, to have ready for the fall. He's finalized AI use policies, another glitch in our little internet work here. They have a new filtering system, and it's more intuitive, so it gives a lot of alerts evidently in regards to safety. New firewall and switch at the SAU upbuilding, and the new network aligns with the PMHS and Alton, giving some more unified network fabric. They did Thrill-Share, Google Workspace, and School Information System training. Autodesk has been deployed in all buildings, now ready for our students and staff, and all access points that were going end of life this year have been replaced, and that's kind of the summary.
So, I just wanted to ask, that one thing that came up at our Alton meeting was the guest Wi-Fi, and also the, making sure the websites are updated with information,
Right,
and that it is correct. So if we could,
yeah, people are very frustrated with the guest Wi-Fi after school, like not able to get on very well. So it's just something that we need to address. We've tried to address in the past, I know it's difficult, but we need to get it rolling. Okay,
have that conversation.
thank you. All right, Building and Grounds Committee report?
Building and grounds, we met this evening, for here, our capital expense plans, is that in the packet?
Good question.
Is that in the packet?
Is it in the packet? I got it.
Okay, it should be in your packet, so I can, let me make it easier. As we go down through the list, fine arts, kiln replacement still in progress. The golf carts have been delivered, we've received them, they're here. The floor in the gym, as you already saw, it is all finished, looks really, really good. Funds combined for fields, it's all in progress. On the baseball, softball fields, they had material moved in for the fields. AD had the fields actually tested to see what we needed and got the right mixture brought in for the fields, so those are being taken care of.
So we're talking about practice fields?
Yes, the baseball and softball
Okay.
fields. Yeah, and then a couple of batting cages looking at. James, did you get the batting cages? I should have asked.
Yeah, so the original allotment for that was to do kind of the Taj Mahal of batting cages. I think we can do something a little more reasonable. And after speaking to the baseball coach, honestly, I'm the softball coach, we felt it was important to get the actual fields up to par where they should be. So that was part of what we used this money for, re-engineering fields. They actually cut out some grass on the baseball field in the rain, you saw it. So we actually had true base paths. They were down to about 3 feet. They should be 6 feet. You know, so basically just making them look presentable, and have the right type of gameplay, reduce bad hops, those sort of things. So there's about 80 yards of infield mix that came in. They dug out the whole pitching mound and brought in new clay, so we actually have a true pitching mound now. So just trying to get to the point where visually they look good, but also they're up to snuff in terms of pure athletic play. To really answer your question, the next step of this is with the remaining budget, we feel like we can look at doing batting cages. Anytime you do that, it's kind of a train that keeps rolling. Do we put cement on the ground? Do we put stone there? Do we put it on the grass? So we're kind of specking out what some batting cages look like.
Awesome. At the Building Grounds meeting, Eric was shaking his head yes with the fill, so I feel that he was in agreement.
Sign.
So that was
That's
good.
a good sign.
He's done some of that kind of work, so that's good. The medium blasting, coating, sidewalk, it's gonna be done, demoing on Thursday, should be all done by Friday. Building maintenance, on the lighting, in parking lighting is, the RFPs are going up on that, correct? That's what it was?
We're working on it.
Work on the RFPs. Which will watch those going out. We'll meet next month. Building the Grounds is going to meet again. Hopefully those RPs will be in, and we'll know what we're able to do. On the back side of the paper, we'll hold off on the top ones. We'll do here. We're going to have an action item on the buildings ground, but the auto scrubber should be here a day or two. It just needs to be trucked up to here. The bathroom freezer, generator repair are all done. Electric sign, it's about a 10-week lead time, so it'll be done, but it's just taking 10 weeks. The granite post being put out, steel post being put in, the electricity's already out there. The original top part of the sign is going to stay and be part of that, incorporated part of that, so that's in progress. Water damage repair to the R word that we won't say. Actually, it was leaking way up top, was not sealed correctly, came splashing in, so repair up there, some caulking and some sills, those kinds of things, came in under budget, which is great. So that is being done. Other current building stuff, the boosters for pumps, they're on the last leg of their life. There are RFPs going out for them, RFP for the well, and so those will be going out in the near future to see what we come back with. Circling back, is the van. Hopefully it's on action items too.
So we have quotes.
So we have the van quotes. Where I did my paperwork. So much paperwork, okay? As we talked about in a group, the lowest bid came in from Caproni Ford, Caproni, actually it's Ford Bow, and last van we bought was also through them as well. And it's just one of the ones that probably put as a priority as a school board to get those because we have such a high demand, and again, even better if we have issues with busing, we have 2 vans at least to get the kids where we need to.
Might be our only mode of transport.
Yeah, maybe a lot of trips, maybe parents coming in and using a van. From our group, we're making a formal recommendation to accept the bids from Caproni. So I'll make a motion to accept the bid for Caproni for a 2024 Ford Transit 350. It's a 12-seater, 2 cabin chairs, 10 passengers. Price includes all discounts and incentives, a total of $53,529.
I would second that.
Any
About
discussions?
the vans,
I'm
because
sorry, what?
About the
Just a
vans,
question.
because I've never even seen the current one. Is there any way to know that it's a school vehicle?
I think it says Prospect Mountain High School.
It does, it has detailing.
Yeah, I think on the side it has it.
Okay.
if I
Wasn't-
recall.
Yeah, it says
Yeah.
Prospect Mountain.
So it's been in such high demand that a lot of people haven't been able to get it because.
No, we
they're all
talked about
signing
that.
up for
I
it,
would
so-
support the second van, I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure.
And just so the public knows, it sounds like a lot of money there, but it actually saves a lot of money for the district over time because we don't need a bus driver for that. Small teams, your golf, your tennis, your bass fishing, all these other ones, smaller ones especially,
Skiing, yeah.
or anybody that needs small school field trips, the teacher can drive it, the coach can drive it. We're not paying for a driver and hourly and then all that kind of gas for a bus. So it's actually, and the kids get back sooner,
Right.
quite frankly. So it's actually all
And
good.
there's some programs that use it weekly where they go out into the community and visit learn skills in the community. That's part of the weekly process. All right, any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
So
I
next,
do have $1 million question for, about the fields. I'm sorry, I have to ask. Are the kids going to be able to practice the night before a game on the game field? It has to be asked.
I assume you're referring to the soccer field?
Yes.
Yes, yes, they will.
They
So
will.
Our rule going forward is if you have a home game here, you'll be able to use the field for your practice the day before that game.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
And there was also a question about scrimmages this summer too, right?
Yeah, but they're all done.
Yeah, they're actually gonna scrimmage here Monday. They should be out on this field. They may be out back. We're moving the goals over and we'll have it painted here in the next week.
Okay.
The
I think
whole
there is
idea
a
is
scrimmage next week.
We obviously don't want to ruin this field. It's also very wet back there, so we're trying to balance the two as best we can, but we'll give them an opportunity before home games to use this field.
I appreciate that.
Yep.
That really helps the kids. I think
It
Eric
makes
has pointed that
sense.
out. All right, thank you. I wanted to know that information.
and that's
So-
it for Buildings and Grounds, just that we'll have a meeting next month on our school board meeting at 5:30.
Okay. I appreciate all the hard work. That's a lot of work you guys went through.
Randy has a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The only other comment I had on the buildings and grounds update, I might be the only one, but I just can't get on board the electronic sign.
Me either.
It's so expensive, but if everyone's on board with it, that's fine. I just feel like it's a lot of money for.
You talking about up
sign.
here? Yeah.
I'm sorry?
You talking about the one up here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
okay.
on the update with the pricing. So I know that they're looking to get them for all 3 schools. I think it would be efficient and informative. I don't negate that, but I just think it's a lot of money.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Now the Building and Grounds Committee, take that note.
We've already voted.
I know, we
It's already
voted for it, but
in.
for next time.
Maybe I missed that in June.
Yeah, you should have brought it up during discussion, Brandy. No, I'm just kidding. All righty, we're on to you, Matt. Your turn.
Thank you. So our professional development focus for this school year will continue our journey through the embedded honors approach. We've had 14 of our core teachers who have gone through some training, not only from professional development last year, but have done a 2-day intense training. Those who have not participated will do so prior to our November 5th Professional Development Day. During the 3 professional development days, the focus will be on creating new and/or editing existing units for our grade 9 courses, utilizing that standards-based approach to personalized learning. Another factor this year are all of us, who's one of the individuals who does a lot of our contractual work. We'll be doing some baseline data, doing some walkthroughs to gather information on teaching strategies. She will also work with student focus groups to kind of get some baseline data on their perceptions of what's going on in the classroom, not necessarily about the specific teacher, but just in general of their view on their day-to-day views of Prospect Mountain High School. That'll give us a good baseline, so then we'll do it again the following school year to kind of compare, even though they're 2 different cohorts. As we make that shift into our approach to teaching and learning, we'll see if things shift with that piece of it. And again, as we look and focus more on student voice and autonomy, again, research tells us that when we do that, student engagement does increase. The administrative team met last week for 3 days. We started off with Mike Anderson through Leading Great Learning. He did a full-day presentation that's a student-centered approach to teaching and discipline, and then looking at research and evidence-based techniques to create safe and engaging classrooms. And so Mike will continue to work with our elementary schools and then potentially the following year with our high school, but his message is clear, and that is really kind of focusing in on solid classroom management pieces of it, increasing engagement, and being consistent across the board. So one of the things in here is looking at that consistency from classroom to classroom, department to department. On October 14th, the administrative team from all 3 schools met with their team reps and department heads. You saw the 45-day plan that Dave created. That was a day that he was able to sit down with his leaders and go through that 45-day plan and really outline the focus to give them a good indication of where we're going and how we're getting there. That gave them the opportunity to give him feedback along with the assistant principal and the leader students. And as a result of that, they were able to create their school goal for this year. And the school goal this year is to provide students with consistent and school-wide opportunities for success with common grading practices across disciplines and grades as measured by the data that we have. So a lot of last year there was inconsistencies with is it 80-20 in terms of summative and formative? Is it 70-30? How many summatives do I give in a quarter or two? And so there was a lot of different things going on, even within a department as a whole. So one of the goals is to really kind of streamline that process. And that really came out of that meeting with the department heads. So again, a good collaborative approach to that. And Dave's team did a nice job facilitating through that piece of it. Our system goal will be again around cultural competency. We continue to work on how do we make sure that we have that welcoming and respectful environment, but also understanding that all of our kids are unique, just like us as adults, and really kind of working with them to fulfill those pathways that they have. And really kind of making sure that our implicit and explicit biases don't creep into the things that we're doing. So there's a lot of work around there. And I remember back last year, one of the teachers that popped up when we were talking a little bit about this was, we were thinking about race and thinking about gender and things of that nature. And this individual said, well, what about those 5 kids that sit up in the back of the auditorium every time we have something going on, right? So when we think about equity and how do we get to those 5 kids who are up there and not engaged and things of that nature. So there's a lot of conversation that will continue around that. Lastly, on Monday we had a new teacher orientation, and we had the first half of the day was here at Prospect Mountain, and then in the afternoon they were heading off to their individual schools. A lot of positivity, some good vibes from not only the new teachers, but our mentors. So we have all of our mentors in place and our mentor coordinators, and we're moving forward. Again, our mentoring program is focused around a coaching model. So we have a lot of good buy-in. A lot of our mentors are in their second and third years, so they're seeing the benefit of it as well. This past, we had summer school, so we had 13 kids attend the summer school, and the 3 teachers that were there utilized sort of that embedded honors approach. And I am glad to tell you that all 13 kids passed, and that ranged from grades 9 through 12. Positive feedback not only from the kids, but there was positive feedback from the 3 adults that did that. They were talking about the quality of the work that the kids were actually presenting. And so while it was a standards-based approach, it wasn't just, here's my paper, I'm done. It was, okay, you're done, let's take a look at it, how do we make it better? And kids actually pushed through that process, where in the past, they would just hand it in, and if they got a passing grade, they were good to go. And they pushed a little bit more and more. So they felt like the level of quality was much higher than what they started off the summer with. So a success overall. We would hope that we had more people, but hopefully as students hear that it wasn't as bad as they might have thought it was, that maybe next summer.
I think 13's a good number.
13's a good number, yeah. I would have liked a few more, but
Right.
again, yep.
Okay,
That's it.
all set?
Yep.
Thank you, Matt. And we had the superintendent's report already.
My apologies, I didn't see that.
That's okay. You
were gung-ho.
stepped in, you were gung-ho,
like it.
I was not gonna stop you.
Listen, you didn't get snacks.
I know.
This.
I know, no water.
A couple of bad check marks over here.
The kitchen isn't open, Jason, I keep telling you.
We'll start that pit right now.
So we're back to action items. We have done the van already. So the faculty and staff handbook.
I'll make a motion to accept the 24-25 faculty and staff handbook.
Second.
All right, any discussion? We have the changes in front of you. Did you have a chance to look at the changes? I told Deb not to copy the 100-page handbook for each of us. It seemed a little bit excessive. So that is online if you wanted to see the whole thing. But we do have the changes in front of us. With the changes to the staff handbook, were the staff involved in these changes is the question?
That's a great question. Yes.
Good, okay.
Thoroughly involved. All throughout the summer, I had staff meeting with me, and at every opportunity, I brought it right up on my screen. In some cases, we made updates in real time.
Okay,
I
great.
also had a chance to meet with union representation, and I also put out an invitation to all staff if they'd like to play an even more vested role to come meet with me. And not many took me up on that, but they had the opportunity to
Sure.
do so. When I didn't get much volunteers to work on the handbook during the summer, I took advantage of the people that were meeting with me and actually brought them in on it. And the nice part is we had 3 out of our 6 department heads here during summer school.
Oh, good.
So I pulled them in and they played a role. So I would say all in all, about 2.5 to 3 dozen teachers have already seen these updates. And all these updates have been shared with every staff member in Drive for several weeks now.
Okay, great. So they've had an opportunity to give you feedback?
Yes.
Before we adopt it?
Yep.
Great. I appreciate that. Any other comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll
Okay.
make a motion to accept the 24-25 student handbook.
Second.
So Wyatt, did you get a chance to look at these changes? You did? Okay, just want to make sure.
Is there anything you'd like to say?
Well, I got to see some of them when I met with Principal Latchalk the other day, and we kind of went over a couple things.
That's helpful, I appreciate it.
I like the wording.
Awesome. Okay, so you think the students are going to accept this pretty well? That's good to hear.
Boy, you get to take the, you get to take
You
it.
get to take the hit. You see, you're on camera. You're on camera, bud. All right. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Make a motion to accept the 24-25 athletic handbook.
Second.
This one says it was a little rocky year last year. Is there anything that you want to point out to us specifically? I know I have it in front of us, but is there anything specific that was a huge, and you're new to the role,
Yep.
that you think is a big change that we may run into that we need to know about?
There's nothing earth-shattering here. Some of the biggest changes are the fact that we want to apply it to all 3 schools. So we're going to start unifying everything, bringing them together. Why aren't we all operating off the same handbook? I went through, had a chance to look at the Alton handbook, looked at the Barnstead, looked at the Prospect ones. They all say similar things, just maybe worded a little bit differently, pass or fail versus 70 versus 65%. So we're just kind of bringing all of that together, trying to unify and create some consistency. I would say if I had to give you a theme of the changes here, bring the 3 schools together and create consistency so people know what the rules are. Get as many kids playing for as long as they possibly can. And then obviously have systems in place to hold kids accountable when they're not following the rules here, but still give us some flexibility to be able to use good sense based off of the fact pattern and try to do what's best for the student.
I will say the first meeting that you had, the feedback I got from it was, from my wife telling my kid, you better keep your grades going. It's a big focus this year. We're not going to be chasing you around. So you put it as a big focus, which is fantastic.
But they can fix it, that's what I.
They can fix it, yes.
They can fix it, that's what's important.
There's been no system in place to continually check those. It had historically been whatever you did in the prior term. So if you were passing in the prior term, no one really looked at you during that actual season. So we'll still use the prior term, but we're going to be looking at grades on a weekly basis. And essentially, if you're failing, you go on probation. You have 2 weeks to fix the problem while you still get to participate. If we get outside the 2-week window, you can't participate anymore until you fix the problem. And so we'll just continue to review that.
I have a question. So incoming freshmen this year, are they on probation, kind of like you're going to assess how they're doing 2 weeks into school?
Yes.
So if any of them are failing at that point?
Yep. And
Because since we're not going off of previous.
We put some wording in here because it's not only grades, you also have occurrences of like whether it's drugs, alcohol, tobacco, those sort of things. We're viewing each of the schools in a silo for those. So like your occurrences as a 7th or 8th grader don't count towards your occurrences when you get to Prospect, if that makes sense. So from a grades perspective, we're viewing them fresh as
Clean
fall
slate.
students, as 9th graders, and then looking at them moving forward.
I have a question too about the probation.
Yep.
Is there any wording in there for, I don't want to say like teacher negation, but there's sometimes there'll be, I have classes where we go a month and a half without an assignment going in, or the opportunity to fix the previous assignment.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if that could be like worked on, I guess, with teacher accommodation. You know, if they're saying, yes, I'm working with the student's showing commitment to it to improve it, I won't have a grade in to actually see change until 3 or 4 weeks down the line.
So Wyatt, one thing you'll find about me, I don't use the word common sense, it's not always common good sense. We're gonna review this stuff, so we're not just gonna pull the grade report and say, oh, you're failing, you're out. Amanda and I are gonna connect with the teacher. Is it a grade that was missing? Do they actually have it, just haven't put it into the system yet? Get a feel for what's going on with that situation. Again, for me, I want kids playing as much as possible, but then also, you know, if the kid's failing 3 classes, should they really be out on the practice field? Probably not.
I'm going to assume.
Wasn't that an update though also in the handbook that teachers?
You're exactly correct. So James and I have had a lot of conversations. So to Wyatt's point to your question, one of the many updates is the inclusion of the professional responsibility for regular updates of the handbook, or excuse me, of the grade book with regard to entering grades. So that's happening because it's now in the approved handbook. I have the opportunity as the principal to have those conversations with the teacher involved to remediate and fix that.
Yeah.
And we included some language in here that I actually, you know, worked with David on, and you'll see a lot in the school handbook around alternative restorative practices. So it gives us a little bit of room to either add that on top of the consequences or use them in replacement of those consequences based off of the fact pattern for that particular scenario. The other big update in here is essentially the athletic department is going to do everything in conjunction with school administration. So the idea would be, I'm going to go talk to David, talk to the dean of students, talk to the AP, and say, hey, this is the fact pattern. What do you think we should do here? And just have an educated conversation about it, as opposed to just saying, you know, 2 weeks you're not passing, you're off the team, which is the way that this is written today.
And to add on to that, we've made a concerted effort to really cross the 2 worlds of athletics and school. And what I mean by that is, if a child breaks a behavioral expectation on the bus coming home from a sports game or on the field, the athletic director will play a vital role in looking into that, making recommendations, and then he'll sit down with me or the assistant principal and we'll decide what the best course of action is to fix and remediate what's going on with that student. So it's not happening in isolation where, you know, he just goes, hey, this is what happened, you guys look into it and figure it out. He's going to play a vital role in doing a lot of that, looking into what happened, why it happened, and recommendations based on our handbook of how it should be fixed from a student standpoint. So it's something that I'm excited about.
Great.
One thing I would add that I think is important for this group is that some of the policies that are written at the different SAUs actually include some language that's in existing handbooks. I would like to make a recommendation to remove those. Like there's JJIB, which is found in all 3 of those, in the policies that have a very like blanket view that doesn't interrupt any of the actual inner workings of the handbook. Prospect, for example, added JJIC in 2022. It's literally a copy and paste of the eligibility wording from the handbook into the policy.
So we have to change that.
I think it would make sense to leave some of those procedures out of the policy, so if we're updating it, we're not always having to go back and forth, because obviously we don't want a handbook that's different than what our policies are. I did review BDS and Bolton, and both of the JJIBs are fine. They're broad enough in what they say that it fits within the wording of the handbook. But JJIC for prospect should be removed.
So
Make a recommendation, the policy committee meet with them?
Yeah, I was
Right.
going to
So
say,
they can bring it
policy, we do have a policy committee
Okay.
of
We'll
2.
work on that next go around. Yep.
That'd be great if you guys could work on that. Our goal is to have policies that envelope all 3 schools eventually, if we can. I mean, sometimes you can't, but that would be one.
They're pretty close. The JJIPs at all 3 are very, very similar.
Sure, so if we can do that with athletics, that would be great.
Yep.
All right, great, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, all those in favor of accepting the changes?
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. Now we're on to guidance for hiring substitutes and pay rates. They are asking for our permission to raise the rates for the substitutes so we can attract more people.
I make a motion to accept the proposed wages for substitutes as presented as of, actually probably August 2024.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Obviously, it's hard to find substitutes, so this might give more of an incentive, we're hopeful, but we approved it in Alton last night too, so. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. Now we're on to readings, first reading.
Policies for first readings. First reading of ACCA Title IX, IHBC, Accommodation of Pregnancy and Related Medical Conditions, students. IHB, Extended Learning Opportunities. IMBC, Alternative Credit Options. IMBC-R, Alternative Credit Options Procedure. And IKFB, Diploma Policy for first read.
That was I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And then we have informational only, the indoor air quality and water quality procedure. That's just for information. People would like to read that. All right, and we're on to personnel. There are some certified people that we need to approve. Can't remember where they are, but they're.
Make a motion to appoint the building-based substitute and the special education teacher.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we need certified staff resignations or retirements.
Make a motion to accept the resignations of the special education teacher, the guidance counselor, and the JMA school district treasurer.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Coaches, we don't, this is just
No action.
informational. And we're on to support staff, which no action is needed, and admin receptionist that was hired.
Done.
Okay, so we're all set with personnel. All right, we're on to our second public input. Do we have any public input tonight? I see no's. Okay, then I close public input. Future agenda items. Anyone have anything they want to add?
How the first day of school goes. I'm sure you want to know about that.
I'd like a report on the delayed openings and see how those are going. Just for professional development or team meetings, or, you know, how we're utilizing them. Because, you know, some of the parents are finding them difficult because of transportation to get the kids here. Not so much the upperclassmen because they have their licenses,
I will say, they do allow the kids to sit in the cafeteria.
they have been, yes, in the past,
Yeah.
yeah. So is that gonna still be in place? Okay. All right, so anyway, it'd be nice to have a report on that, and what types of activities are being planned for that. The other piece is we'd like to meet your rest of your team, and Matt and I talked about that earlier today. If they could come and introduce themselves, that'd be great, okay? Anything else you want to add to the agenda for next time?
Oh, just that we don't want them to come every time. We're not
No,
asking them
no.
to come every time, just.
I just want to be able to meet them because
Right.
it's nice to put a face to the name.
I hope that Wyatt actually does some work for this next meeting. It'd be great. Wyatt has been doing a job recruiting people for the bass fishing program. So
They're coming to me.
coming to him. So if anybody wants bass fishing out there, in
We
the
have
woods,
Wyatt, huh?
that'd be great.
All right, anything else you want to add for Matt to write down? All right, we have to go into non-public tonight.
Make a motion to go non-public 91-A, 3, 2, A and C, personal, and approval of the non-public meeting minutes from 6/8/24, or is it supposed to be 6/8?
Okay, can I have a roll-
Yes.
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 Eunice?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was reading the minutes, so I
We're now
All
non-public.
right,